All right. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday.
Monday.
Monday. Look, I always think it's Tuesday. I used to do this on the old podcast too. You know it's a good safety meeting when I think it's Tuesday because I lost track of Monday.
Yeah.
Happy Monday. This is Stoney Stone, and you're watching A Minute with Stoney Stone. And my sidekick here,
Darren with Team Sift.
dude, he's got it down.
It's on my shirt.
It's on your shirt. We just need your name on your shirt.
Yeah.
We have a great guest today, Rob Stoddard with Stoddard's Guide Service, and his boat is the Redneck Hooker. I got some stories that he told me about that. We'll probably bring some of that up. Talk about Knight's Landing this weekend. Anthony and I went out to Knight's Landing, and there's some people that are going to be online that fish the Catfish Derby this weekend. So I want to get an update from you guys on I heard a few things. Yeah, if somebody was on, I think Warren's on. I think he fished it, so I might, tap him on the shoulder a little bit. Say, hey, let's talk about that. And I'm going to talk about boater safety. I think that's an important topic. You're watching on the news, a lot of people drowning on the rivers, on the lakes, and so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I want to just give a shout out to Bobby. Who's Bobby? I don't know who Bobby is, but it's the guy we met at the dock.
One-armed Bobby.
One-armed Bobby. This guy that we're at Knight's Landing, we get off the boat and tidying everything up, and this guy comes up, hey man, I watch your videos, I watch your podcast. He started shooting the shit, and he went out, and I'm like, my name is Bobby, and I'm up on the boat, and I can't see. He's like his full body, he's down there, and I'm like, I reached out to shake his hand, and all there was a stub, and so I'm like, I kind of just stopped for a minute and went. Put my left hand out and shook his hand. It was just kind of an awkward moment. What do I say? Oh shit! What happened to your arm?
You should have shook his stub.
I should have shook his stub. That's messed up. But Bobby, if you're watching, thank you. We love the support. We're just, you'll find you get to know me. I pick on everybody, even this guy.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. And Rob, I know you're on the line. What's up, buddy?
What's happening?
What's happened? This is the infamous Rob Stoddard with Stoddard's Guide Service. Tell us a little bit about yourself before I start picking on you.
There's a lot to tell.
What do you do? You're a guide, right? Where do you guide? What do you do?
I'm a guy that has a boat that goes a lot and happen to do everything I need to do to become a guide, man. It's so I'm a local fishing guide. I fish the Feather River and Sacramento River, all the way down to the Delta, and we fish for everything that comes up here to spawn. So your sturgeon, striped bass. We jump to the lakes and do kokanee, but main river fishery is your sturgeon, striped bass, and king salmon. And hooray,
we're getting a coming, right? Salmon's coming.
Yeah. So,
what do you think about that? What do you think about having a salmon season?
I'm stoked. I cut my teeth in 2017, and if anybody was fishing the Feather River that year, that's when the dam broke, and we had all that water pumping. First year guiding, first year running a tiller boat and running a kicker, and I hung out in the outlet, I don't know, from August 1st to October 15th, whatever the cutoff date was back then, and it was bumper boats. That's when we were doing the toilet bowl roll, when we were allowed to use 15-foot leaders. Going there with a 16-ounce weight, drop it down. I expect nothing less than that. So for us that have experienced it, it's probably going to be the same on a constant. There's probably going to be some guys taking advantage of day and night trips, so morning and afternoon, because that section of the river is where they all go to potentially die.
Right.
And these guys don't get 90 days anymore. I'm a weekend warrior fishing guide. I do this part-time, and everybody asks, what do you do? And I'm a part-time fishing guide, but it's a full-time gig. It's always on my mind. There's always things to do. I give it up to these guys that do it 100% of the time. And us part-timers, and it's us part-time guys, you got to build a network. And it used to be nice when I could fish 5 days a week and stay on top of things, but building a network and helping those guys helping me out where are they at in this section of the river? I know what to do, and a lot of guys help me out. Very blessed in that department, but we're excited to fish salmon. So it's 99 Bridge, and for those that don't know where that's at the Nicholas 99 Bridge. So if you're going over 99 heading into Yuba City, that big bridge you go over, that's the Feather River. We get to fish that July 16th all the way to October 31st. There's a tremendous fishery out of Star Bend in the Yuba City area at a certain time, trolling spinners, spoons, jigs. Some guys sit on flatfish above the falls. For those that remember the falls when it was just a shoot, if you got there first, you usually had a good day. But we get to fish that long section for the 15th through the 31st, which is the old original salmon season. But from Live Oak north, we only get from July 16th to September 15th. So, those that are going to take advantage of what they used to have for 90 days, I think they're going to do a lot of double days. With a salmon fishery, what did we experience this year? Steelhead fishing, right? We had
Yeah.
we had to filter salmon to catch steelhead.
Right.
That's a story we'll be able to tell people and they'll never believe us, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be that lights out, but there's definitely going to be salmon in the system. We're going to catch fish, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a crazy time. I can tell you that. I mean, I've been out at the Rogue River out in Oregon with Kevin during salmon season, and I know we're going again in August this year, and it is bumper boats. And the
Yeah.
thing that I was impressed with was how well all the guides worked together. When somebody hooked up, how people pulled lines out so you get entangled, and just the way that was orchestrated, it was just I was kind of in awe. So in California,
It won't
at
happen.
the at the outlet, is there people going to play nice, or is it going to be a shit show? And it'll be interesting because there's a lot of new players in that world, and the guides that get along are going to do great, and the ones that don't get along are it's gonna. I'm almost wanting to be there just to film and see all the crazy stuff.
I don't envy you because it looks like it's going to just be crazy. I mean, unfortunately there's too many people out there that just care about themselves and what's going on in their boat and don't pay attention to anybody else.
Yeah.
And it's scary just even being out on the river. I couldn't imagine salmon season when you got 30, 40 other boats out there.
Yeah, in every section, every stem, every run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've joked with clients and other people talking about the salmon season is if they give it to us, we're going to launch it where we can launch at 4 a.m. We're going to launch at 4 a.m., throw out the anchor, and we're not going to move all day long.
Yeah, I know the guys will camp out on their boats
Yeah.
to get their spot and just come the day before and not even fish. Just I'm gonna anchor up and wait till morning.
Here's something interesting that we can all agree. If not, you can hear it from me. Salmon is literally the only fishery somebody's willing to die for a fish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Go up and down the river, and I've seen guys up to their armpits in the water, casting over their head, beating,
Yep.
and
one slip and you're done.
I've personally saved individuals.
Mhm.
I've watched other guides in the outlet save individuals that were drowning. It's a scary thing, when you're talking about everybody working together. It's one thing for 30 boats in the outlet to work together, but then you have the shore guys, and it's nothing against them. I've fished the shore. I've been out there casting 1 ounce, 2 ounce weights, dragging 3 foot, back when we could 10-foot leader before I had a boat. I've been there. There's nothing against bank guys. I love them. Love that they get the opportunity, but we're drifting right by them. It's often that we get a 1 ounce, 2 ounce, now a 3-foot leader coming in the boat. So it's that combat fishing plus us boats. So pick your poison, but you don't have to fish the outlet. You can be
totally
down in the runways. You can launch out of Gridley and fish beautiful salmon fishery down there. Launch from Star Bend, do your you're jigging, you're trolling. A lot of guys troll down there. You have all kinds of different options. That's what's really beautiful is they didn't cut it off and go, hey, you only have 3 miles of river and you got 900 people trying to fish that. That'd be
Right.
insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
That'd be
so
bad.
it's going to be fun. I think what's well overdue, and it's gonna definitely be something a lot of people are going to do. Some guides are going to make some money, which is good. It helps the local economy,
Mhm.
and there's lots of places. What's going to be interesting is salmon gear, right?
Yes.
And we're trying not to make this a commercial, but the salmon gear are the tackle shops going to anticipate this and have stuff ready to go. There's only one place I know that has everything for salmon right now.
Where's that?
That's the tackle box in Chico. It's already there. All the plugs, all the jigs, everything is already there.
Yep.
And you just got to go in there and check it out. If you're in Chico, but Johnson's Bait and Tackle will have that stuff too. I know I've talked to Brian; they're getting stuff in line. So if
Yep.
you're here in the Yuba City area, you got Johnson's Bait and Tackle. You can go get some cool salmon stuff. You can go up to the tackle box in Chico and get your salmon stuff. Those are the only two that I really deal with on a regular. There may be other shops, but for the guys that are local, know Johnson's Bait and Tackle.
Yeah.
And Chico people, up there know them. So you have two places to go get all your salmon stuff that is going to be in stock, ready to go right now.
I got a question for you, Rob. Do you know anything if they're going to be opening the salmon season on the Sacramento River at all?
I was told no.
Not
No?
this year.
Okay.
Non-navigatable waters, what I was told,
It
which
Uh,
is the
is.
feather and the American parts of the American,
okay.
a really short part of the American.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting the Feather River, we're getting the American River and the McCallum River, and they all have
Okay.
subsections
Yep.
that will fish certain times and full length.
And there's
Okay.
more information on the Fish Kevin Brock podcast I just launched a couple days ago that
Okay.
has a more in depth because Kevin talked to somebody, got some firsthand knowledge. So he's a
Perfect.
good resource on what happened with all that stuff. So
Good deal.
So
um,
there's real good information. James Stone talks about it on the NorCal Guides and Sportsmen's
yeah.
Association webpage. He
And
did
I
his
have
his live.
James is supposed to be on our guest on 6/9, June 9th. He's supposed to be on,
Oh yeah,
which is before the salmon season starts, right?
yeah,
So James, by that time, a lot of the dust would have settled. So I'm going to have him on. He's going to talk specifically about salmon and stuff. So it'll be a podcast to check out on 6/9,
yeah,
just from his perspective with Norgal
Hmm.
guides and sportsmen. So he's been
yeah.
a bit
It's
advocate.
he threw out a website. I checked it out, so you can go to it's the Fish and Game Commission website. Just
Okay.
Google search Fish and Game Commission, click on it, go to meetings, and then click on 2025 meetings. And I forget which date, but you click the documents from the meeting, scroll all the way to the bottom, and it's got every recommendation for each river and its sub sections. That's I did a screenshot of it and posted it on my announcement that we're having a salmon season on Facebook. So
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. I think I liked it. I think I loved it. In fact, I think I hearted it. I
Oh.
hearted it, and not just a like.
you,
So
you,
Rob, a couple things. Thank you for the weekend. So Anthony and I were fishing, right out of Knight's Landing, where we were the week before, and we started trolling right at the beginning. He got freaking limits within like an hour, right there, not even more than maybe a mile upriver. So we figured we are gonna hit that again and see what happened. And yeah, we got a lot of shakers, nothing going on. We anchored up, got some squawfish, anchored up again, got a nice little bass. And I've got a tiny little catfish. And so Rob ends up calling me, asking me how things are going. And I'm like, we're not doing anything. All our little spots that we have got fish, there's nothing. So he gave me a little tip, sent me a little pin drop, went up to where he was. Boom, we got two. It was late in the afternoon already. We got
Yeah.
two keepers, another nice squawfish, but we dispatched him pretty quickly. And but yeah, Rob, thank you very much for a little tip, and that definitely got Anthony on some fish. It was weird. Anthony are fishing the same baits, minnows, anchovies, whatever, chicken liver we were using. We're catching a lot of chicken
Yeah.
liver, and
You're catching a lot of chicken liver?
no, we're using chicken liver,
Oh.
but I could not catch a cold. Dude, I swear to God, Anthony's rod all day. It was Anthony. I'm like, what the hell? I did not catch. I don't think any of my rods got hit that day.
So what's new?
hey, Hey, I can contest. Stoney can fish. We went trolling in the Delta, and his rod was hot all day, right?
Right?
But
So,
Hot to the full, man.
so it was just interesting.
But wait a minute.
Wait.
So basically what you're saying is you put Stoney on the fish.
Stoney
Yeah.
happened to be fishing on my side of the boat.
Yeah, it was fun. But Rob, thank you. I appreciate you.
That's no problem.
You know, it's great having talk about a network, right? And it's a network, and I have a guide license. I don't do a lot of guiding.
Yeah.
You know, it's my business of, when it comes to tax time, they're like, hey, Mr. Mager, you said you were a guide. How come you? I suck as a guide. There's no, I don't. I'm trying. As long as I'm trying, I could make it a business. So
Yeah.
you got to learn the gray area of how to make money. So. Yes.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
I got to start somewhere. Well, we're learning, and I got Rob. I've videotaped. Now I got a story. I love to tell stories. So I met Rob before I even knew Rob, and there's a video out there, and I got to post the link to it in the podcast. But it was during salmon season, so it had to be 2021. I think it was 2021 because COVID was 2020. 2021 is that's when I started fishing, right? So Anthony and I had this small aluminum boat, and we were anchored up trying to salmon fish along with all the other salmon fishing out in Verona. And I happened to be anchored up next to this guy. I don't know who he was. He had a pulley cool boat, and he was sitting there. He kind of looked like Rob, but I didn't know it was Rob. So we're sitting there, and Anthony sees this big old striper jump down river. And Anthony's like, hey, I'm going to go get this. I'm like, really? You're going to go you saw the striper jump and you're going to go get it. He says, yeah, I'm going to go get it. I'm like, you're full of shit. He's like, no, just pull anchor. I'm like, dude, you're not going to get it. And he's like, no, I'm going to get it. So I pull up anchor. Rob looks over at us and says, hey, where you guys going? Oh, my buddy saw a fish jump. We're going to go get it. He just laughed at me, right? He's got some clients in there. And we go down river, and I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
So we go down river, and he freaking got that striper. It was like a 30-inch striper on the top water. He threw it. He saw it jumping. He saw it jumping up there.
Yeah.
He pulled that thing up. We go back up river. I look at Rob. We pull up the fish. And so we got him. Put it in. His clients are all looking at us like, what the fuck? And we just drove off. Well, I didn't know that was Rob. I didn't know that's when I met him. It wasn't until he's, oh, yeah, I saw you on the feather, over there. I'm like, really? So I had to go back and watch that video. It's like way in the 100s. It was like one of our first videos. And sure enough, that was Rob. Man. And so now I fast forward to now, it's 2015. Where are we? 15? Where are we?
25.
25. 4 years later. 4 years later.
He has a hard time
and I have him
too.
On a podcast. We're doing this thing. So I just look at kind of where I went from when I started Old Farts Fishing to where we are now. And I've got some great guests. And Rob, I just love telling that story because it was just like, really, we're going to go get that. So that's why I call Anthony the striper sniper, because he can see that, and he's done it more than once. Yeah. And I'm glad to have him as on my boat, and I'm glad to have Rob in my network, and it's all good stuff, brother.
Yeah. No, it was a good time. Yeah, this whole weekend was stemmed around, we had Nikki on the boat, which is my wife.
Nikki Burns. Hey, if you're selling your house, call Nikki Burns.
Yeah. Nikki's my homegirl. Look her up.
Look her up. I do pictures for her. So she's a great girl, does a lot of business out there. So yeah, Nikki Burns, real estate agent.
Yeah, so it was the ladies' day. I had to take my wife out, and she always makes me book a day for her.
I had to take my wife out.
Yep.
And she probably outfishes you, right?
Yeah, look at my Facebook. Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
Nikki caught a 14-pound fish 5 seconds into the water, and then my wife finished up the day with a nice 8-9 pound fish, and
very nice.
Yeah, it was a good day.
So he's sitting there texting me pictures, right? He has a big old catfish. I'm like, that's a Clear Lake catfish in the river. I'm like, I've never caught a catfish that big in the river. How big was that catfish? It must have been 9 pounds.
It was 14 pounds, dude.
In the river.
Nice. Yeah.
I only catch I caught like this in the river. It was like this tiny little, and he's got this big old mic.
Yeah.
So I brought him home and put him in my pond.
Dude, we caught 3 catfish, 8 to 14 pounds.
Dude, nice. I'm going to go back up to that area next Saturday, just because I think we got there too late. The bite was already off.
Yeah, we were just drowning minnows too. They smoked those minnows.
The catfish smoked those minnows.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang. So we're gonna get some more minnows, which I like having extra minnows when we're done because that's
Yeah.
all in my pond, and the bass in my pond go crazy over those. But
Yeah.
Rob, if I want to book a trip with you, how's the best way to get a hold of you?
So there's my direct number 916-295-8851. Facebook is Stoddard Guide Service. My website is sgsredneckhooker.com. They've all
Woohoo,
got my
redneck hooker.
contact info. It's call, text, email stoddardguideservice@gmail.com. But calling me is probably the best way to do it. It seems like most of my trips get booked over text. It's
Okay.
just the way of the world anymore. You
Yep.
know, I give them full detail and a drop, and it's really weird. Coming from the sales world, it's like I need to follow up and call and make sure it's like, hey, you got that right. So
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So are you already booking salmon trips?
yeah, had a guy tell me he wanted a trip today. Got a few other guys trying to put guys together.
Okay.
I always go back to my original clients, the OGs, to make sure they get the prime dates, and it kind of just fills in from there. But everybody's so excited to be able to get on a boat and try to catch salmon. So,
Okay. Yeah, I might have to hit you up. My wife's been, I'm not much of a salmon eater. I like catching them, but my wife loves them. And
perfect.
we went up to Gold Beach 2 years ago, and she caught about a 19, 20 inch salmon. I told her I've seen trout bigger than that, but so she wants to catch a good size one. She definitely knows how to fish. She outfishes me quite often. So
So it's a standard issue trout or
yeah, it was
salmon.
it was
Standard
definitely a
issue.
standard issue salmon. Yeah. So she wants to get on a big one. So
I
some
bet she
big
does.
salmon.
I bet she
So,
does.
but yeah, she definitely knows how to fish. Um, she's got, like I said, she's got a 7.5 foot sturgeon out there at San Mateo when we were shark fishing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we'd love to have you. Just
All
yeah.
right. There's call.
Stoney can give you my info. I mean, you can call me directly, whatever you want to do, man. We'll get you set up.
Perfect.
Hook them up. Hooked
Yeah.
Sounds
up.
good.
All right. Rob, thank you for getting on. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
We got a pretty big agenda. I'm going to go over some stuff. You're more than welcome to hang out and be part of the conversation, or you can drop whatever fits your fancy there. But appreciate you
Oh,
and all you do. And go to Old Farts Fishing. There's some Rob Stoddard videos on there. Just look for, you can search Stoddard Guide Service or striper fishing and kokanee fishing, and you'll
Yep.
see some videos of us doing some things. So great
yeah.
guy, great time, and thank you very much for all you do.
Yeah. Yeah. We got kokanee coming up too. So we need to hope and pray that the golden mussel thing doesn't happen, but we'll
Oh
prepare
yeah.
for everything.
Yeah. So what I tell
Yeah.
people about that golden mussel thing is it's changing all the time. Know before you go. Find out the regulations on that particular lake. Find out what's going on there because it's going to be important that you know that. Otherwise, you're going to be
Yeah.
very disappointed.
Yeah.
And like Kevin said in his podcast, is don't get mad at the people there. They're just doing their job.
Yeah.
Just do better.
Just do
Right?
better.
They're not the ones to be mad at. Be mad at somebody else higher up. Those guys don't want to be doing this any more than you want to have to be going through it. So
Yep.
just be nice and cordial, and we'll all get
Yep.
along. So cool. All right. So nice landing. I talked a little bit. Rob helped us out. We got a couple fish, but we caught a lot of other things. Squawfish, little tiny catfish, a bass, and not a lot of striper. So I think the bite is slowing down a little bit. And that's the reports I'm getting. Is that it is slowing down a little bit. There are pockets. There's always striper in the river anyway.
yeah.
It's just a matter of the big ones aren't necessarily going to be there. So
Yeah.
you're just going to have to work for it. The big thing that happened this weekend is the Catfish Derby out in Clear Lake.
Yeah.
One thing I got to say is I've fished it once or twice. It's 3 days. It's a lot of fun. But it was one that I didn't want to go to this year. And I'm glad I didn't. One, they had some speedboat races going on part of the lake, which, could or could not. I heard they had it last year too. But it just seems to me if you're going to have a catfish tournament where you're going to do a boat thing, but to each his
Boat
own.
races.
Boat races. But the wind was horrible. I've heard a lot of stories, saw a lot of videos going live of, Richard out there. Warren was out there. He's got some videos. And I even heard a boat capsized. And just so happens, Steve Johnson, the guy Zane that lives out there, got to these guys first, and Steve helped them, and along with some others, to get these guys out of the water,
Yeah.
so they didn't drown, but they capsized. And so before I get into that, boater safety, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But is there anybody online like Warren or anybody want to give an update on the Derby, on what they know or what they saw, or
How it was.
how it was, how'd you do? Is Warren still on, or is he?
Yeah, he's on.
Warren, you give me an update, buddy?
Hey, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we can hear you. So how was the
Okay.
Derby? It was your first Derby, right?
Yeah, first time I fished that one.
So what'd you think? Give us a little report on I didn't get a chance to watch your video. I know you put a couple up, but so give me, what would you think? How'd you do?
On Friday, we started fishing a little afternoon, and fish didn't start really biting until 4,
10.
I guess.
Oh,
Yeah, and then I think we ended up with 8 or 9 Friday night. Had a 19.4 pounder that we weighed in.
Oh,
Caught a
nice.
couple other ones that were, I don't know, 10 to 17, almost 18 pounds. But
so did you stay out all night, or what time did you call it?
whenever it was getting dark, we went in.
So you didn't do
Okay.
the whole I'm gonna go till midnight type of thing?
Nah, we were going to,
No.
and then we decided not to.
Oh, it might be how was the weather? I heard the weather was pretty.
Friday was not bad. It had me, I call it a little walleye chop, but it was a little bit of wind. Wasn't terrible, but it was enough to make it a little tough to fish. And then Saturday we had gusts that I caught up to like 37 miles an hour,
Yep.
and they're blowing out of the north. So you know what the south end of the lake was like.
Oh yeah.
We went to launch, and what's that, Redbud, and then that other launch over at the
The Oaks.
Oaks. Yeah, there was like 2 to 3 foot chop breaking on the launch. So
Yeah.
we went over to Lakeport and launched, but picked up a couple catfish up there and had a couple other bites. But it was I don't know. I think there's just too much moss and weeds to fish up for them the way we were doing it.
Right. Right.
Probably would just need to sit, and just kind of still fish for
Anchor
them.
up.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because when I got into the catfish scene a few years ago, and everybody knows when I got into it, I was fishing with Steve Johnson, and we were fishing the Kings of Clear Lake over there on the Lakeport side, and we were struggling. We had a couple fish. We were coming up on an hour or so away from weigh in, and we only had 2 fish. And Steve is kind of the legend out there. I've been doing this a long time, and it's like, how are we going to go out there and only turn in 2 fish? And so he's starting to get a little frustrated, and I'm a newbie. I don't know anything. And so we're sitting there, and I was just thinking about it. We kept doing this drift, right? Every time we did this drift, we'd catch a fish in this one spot. We'd drift back the other way. We'd catch a fish in that spot. So we were catching fish, right? But we were trading up. We wanted a bigger fish, and I think we had 3 fish,
Right.
but we didn't have the big one, the one to clinch it, right? And we needed a bigger fish. We needed to trade out one of the smaller ones. I think that was what the issue was. We had 3 fish. We just didn't have a big enough fish to place. So what I told Steve, I said, look, and all the training that you told me is you never won this thing drifting. You've always won anchored up. Why are we not anchoring up?
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting the fish dragging. We're getting the fish dragging. I'm like, yeah, but we're hitting one spot where we're catching fish. The rest of the time, we're not catching. I go, let's go anchor right where these pin drops are. Give me a half hour. We had like an hour left. I'm like, give me a half hour. If we don't catch a fish, we'll go back to drifting. So we anchored up in like 10 minutes. Wham! We caught basically the fish that won the tournament for us. Got that fish in. We're cool. Call it a day. Went to go weigh in, and we took first place. So depending on how the story is told, either Steve won it, I won it, we won it, but it was Steve's knowledge. I just had to remind him of what he knew.
Right.
right?
Yep.
And when you're in that game situation, you forget stuff. You forget some of the things that and so it was kind of a cool thing. So that's how we won that tournament, anchoring up. And so Warren, when you talk about anchoring up, sometimes that's how you're going to do it, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
I think that would have been best for us, but not fishing that end of the lake, we didn't know anything about it, and so we
and
just went fishing.
it's all a learning thing. You guys are what I'm excited about is that you came out. I call you guys kokanee guys turned catfishing guys, right? It's good to see the new faces. It's good to see the energy. I know there Ben Harper's out there. We got a lot of new guys. Daryl Akins. Not a lot of new teams, and to me that's exciting.
Yes.
So it's a matter of, can we keep the drama down to a mild, buzz, not a roar, but just mild. And I think we're working on it. I think we're getting there. And I think if we can, as tournament directors and helpers and can keep everything positive and everybody had a great time, we're going to get more and more newcomers to come, like Warren. And Warren, I hope you had a great time at the Derby, and it sounded like you got some fish.
Yeah, it was better than sitting at the house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's what I did over the weekend. It wasn't real fun.
No, that's why we went fishing.
You were supposed to go with me on Sunday to go fishing, but
Yeah.
I heard. So he calls me. I get a text message at 4:00, 4:30. I'm not gonna make it out. My wife has a migraine, and I'm thinking, dude, you could just jump on my boat with me and Anthony. But then I'm thinking, wife has a migraine. The last thing you want to do is go fishing without her if she's fishing with you.
Yep.
My wife doesn't fish, but if she woke up saying she had a migraine, and I'm like,
all right,
see you, honey.
See you later.
I'll go fishing. I might as well just stay out there and not come home.
Yep.
But you did the right thing. You did the right thing.
Sometimes though, when they're mad at you, you just go fishing. They'll still be mad at you, but at least you get to go fishing.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Pick your battles.
Yeah.
Pick your battles.
Yep. But next weekend for sure.
So Warren, I'm glad you had a great time. Sorry the weather didn't cooperate for you, as much as it could, because it can. But that kind of leads me to the boater's safety I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So I got a message today from Steve Johnson. I did see something on Saturday, I believe it was, that somebody posted that some boat capsized or they were in trouble, and I didn't see any updates on it. Not that there wasn't, but I didn't see it.
Right.
And I got a message from Steve saying there was a boat that capsized. And Zane, I know who Zane is. He's a Clear Lake local. Was kind of first on the scene to help these guys, but he's not a big guy, and apparently these guys were like 300 pounds each that capsized.
Right.
And Steve was right there, pretty close, so he went in. He barely got him out of the water, but he was there on scene, got these guys out of the water, and it's pretty tragic in a sense of people are out there to have a good time. And it was funny. I had a conversation with another gentleman about 2 weeks ago saying, do you think that tournament directors have the balls to cancel a tournament for weather? And I had mixed feelings because I'm thinking, well, yeah, they should, look at the weather. But at the same token, I think boat captains, right? So everybody's got to have a boater card now.
Yep.
So if you have a boater's card, you're considered the captain of your boat.
Yes.
Is you as the captain of your boat need to know your limitations.
Yes.
You need to know what your boat can handle.
Yep.
But what you can handle. What is your skill? What is your level? Because I know when I got my boat, I've moved up from a tiny 12-foot aluminum boat to the boat I have now, and I think I went through like 4 boats in 1 year, just trying to get to the boat that I have. But even the boat I have has its limitations.
Yes.
I've been out there, you and I were out there when you were doing your Clash of the Titans, and it was 3-foot rollers.
Yeah, it was nasty.
And if you don't know what you're doing, I don't care what boat you have, you need to know your limitations. And I used to be afraid of that stuff because I was a novice. I didn't know. One thing, I will never take my boat in the ocean because I see guys with my boat in the ocean going, you guys are nuts. Yeah. I'm like, but maybe their skill level is good enough, but I'm like, I wouldn't do it. There's times where I'm in the Delta and I get uncomfortable.
Yep.
But we used to not go in the Delta at all, but you need to know the weather. If Clear Lake says it's going to be 10-mile-an-hour winds, plan on 20-mile-an-hour winds.
Oh, it just also goes to show the Clash of the Titans. We came in to weigh in fish, and there was a young couple with
Oh my God.
their baby in a canoe getting ready to go out on the lake. The baby didn't have a dang life vest on.
No.
If it's blowing at all and you have kids on your boat, have life vests on.
The thing that pissed me off the most about that is like Steve Duncan's yelling at him, Chris Wheeler's yelling.
Yep.
We're saying, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
The baby, the kid's probably 3 or 4 years old,
Yeah.
no life jacket whatsoever, and they're in this like canoe.
In a canoe.
And I'm like, they're gonna go out in a canoe with his wife. Nobody had life jackets on.
No.
We're telling them put a life jacket. I mean, they were yelling at them to put
Yeah.
the life jacket. So the mom puts a life jacket on. I'm still the
Yeah.
kids still didn't have a life jacket. They finally got a life jacket and they start paddling out. And I'm thinking,
Yeah.
somebody's got to be prepared. These guys are
Yeah.
going to capsize. They're going to fall in the water because it was so windy. It just took them to get sideways once, and
Yeah.
that wave was going to toss them. But the guy got some brains because he kind of
Yes.
went out,
They turned
saw how
around,
rough it was, turned around and came back
back.
in.
Yes,
So
thank goodness.
thank God whatever,
Yep.
he figured it out.
Because as soon as they went out, I told my wife, I said, we're not pulling the boat out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Just
not going
wait
to do it. We got to wait.
because we might have to go rescue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And you just really got to know your limitations. There's been many times. I mean, I've got a 20-foot boat, and I've gone down to the bay and looked at the water and said, nope, I'm not doing it.
No.
You just got to have the brains and the know-how, and fear is a good thing.
Luckily, I got Anthony. Right, Anthony is my voice of reason because I'm
Yeah.
like, send it, let's go. I got this.
Yeah.
He looks at me like, no, you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody in Stoney's life is his voice of reason, just depending on what you're going through. Photography is like, hold on,
Yep.
Stoney's me. The hold on for business is his wife. Hold on, Stoney, let's not go fishing today is Anthony.
So we had a trip. We were in Clear Lake one time. It was one of the bashes, right? And it was before they. So we went from it's okay to pre-fish to you can't pre-fish.
Yeah.
Now we're back to it's okay to pre-fish.
Yeah.
So one of the tournaments we were pre-fishing. We went out Friday night. Because the tournament's a one-day tournament.
Yeah.
We got there Friday. Anthony showed up. I'm like, let's go out. So JR is fishing with us. So we go out. It's windier than shit. It's dark, right?
Mhm.
And so we leave out of the Oaks, out of the Airbnb, and we're going over to Rattlesnake Island, right through the little narrow spot. So we're kind of protected, from the island, that Rattlesnake Island, right? It was pretty rough. The boat's going up. A little bit of water is coming over the front, right? And I'm like, JR's looking at me. Anthony's looking at me. I got this. We're good. Anthony's like putting his life vest on.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I got this. I swear. We get around the other side of Rattlesnake. Dude, it was a fucking ocean.
Yeah.
Anthony, as soon as when we went up and down, as soon as this big old wave came over the bow, I looked at Anthony and go, we're going back. And he's like, his eyes are all big. And
Oh yeah.
JR's just looking. JR's used to rough water, right? And I'm like, all right, we got this. And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, we don't. We turned around
JR's used to rough water on a bigger boat.
on a bigger boat. But no. So my word of, my little angel Anthony was like, nope. So we turned around.
Yeah.
Didn't get any pre-fishing in. Done. We were only there for like 45 minutes and went back in.
And you and me as captains of our boats, we're responsible for the people on our boat.
Yes.
So I told my wife, we fished Kings of Clear Lake last year and it was windy as shit. And we were coming back across the lake and there was good 3-foot waves. And I get very honed in to what I'm doing when it's like that.
Mhm.
And I actually get a little stressed out and a little bit of anxiety. Because I'm worried about her. I'm worried about my buddy. I'm worried about
Mhm.
getting us back to the dock safely. And I think that's a good thing to have,
Mhm.
is that fear of the water, not so much fear, but respect.
I would say respect. Right?
Yeah.
But fear is good. Fear is what keeps us alive
Yep.
sometimes.
Yep.
It's that fight or flight, And,
Yep.
and there's nothing wrong with flight.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with flight, especially
Yep.
as you get old like us.
Yeah.
It
Because flight takes longer now.
does take longer. I like these guys. I like to call them the Facebook keyboard cowboys,
Yeah.
where they all talk shit on Facebook. They're all I'm gonna kick your ass, this and this and this, and they get on the dock and ain't nobody doing nothing.
Yeah.
One is, you're usually old guys. It's like
Mhm.
someone's gonna break a hip. Someone's
Yep.
gonna get accused of elder abuse. It's just like nobody wins, right?
Yeah.
And this goes back to my just do better.
Yeah,
You know,
let's
there's no
just do
reason to be
better.
fighting over stupid shit. It's just
Yep.
dumb. It's dumb. Um,
So what else we
Real
got?
catfishers of Clear Lake.
the real catfish is the clear.
Is that housewives?
Oh, which reminds me,
Yeah.
Catfish Wars. So we got a pilot out.
Yeah.
We haven't done with the next tournament's coming up in June.
Well, but you fish before then, don't you?
What's that?
No, you fish after the tournament for
Oh,
Clash of
for
the Titans.
yeah, I fish after the tournament.
That's right. That's right.
I think my Clash of the Titans is in July,
Yeah, it's really hot.
but June is the tournament. Is the next
Yeah.
Catfish Bash. I think we have 18 teams registered. It's kind of
Okay.
plateaued. We've been getting the
Right.
word out, so hopefully we get more teams. I think a lot of people are waiting. You know, now that Derby's over,
Yeah.
you know, maybe they'll. So I was thinking about it. Everybody bitches about the fee.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the fee is only $50 if you think about it. Because if you have a 3-person team,
Oh, $50
you
a
each
person.
put in $50. That's $150.
Right.
It only costs you $150 to enter.
Right.
Now, if you want to enter the big fish, which is
Yeah.
a side pot, it's another
Another
50.
50.
So now you're at 200. If you want to do the blind bogey, which is another side pot, you don't have to do it.
Right.
You're at 250.
Yeah.
So everybody sees the 250 and they freak out, right?
Right.
But there's 3 chances to win money.
Right.
So
Actually, 4.
4 because you
Five.
can
Five.
get 5. I get 4.
First, second, third,
First, second, third.
big fish, bogey.
Bogey, and then somebody usually gets a rod for the smallest weight. So
Yep.
they'll hook them big, throws in a rod for the smallest weight that turns in. So you got 6 ways to win.
Yeah.
So
And I just like donating money because I've never won anything. So
I don't think I've ever won one of these. I'm usually towards the middle, lower section of
Yeah.
the.
well,
I think I actually came in last one time.
Yeah. we came in last. We had the small fish for Kings of Clear Lake last
And you got a
year.
rod.
Chad got a rod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of time to still register for the next bash. It's a blast. Jake puts on a
Good
great
fun.
show. We're definitely making changes as we go forward. We listen to the people that attend. We want to grow it. We want all the newcomers. We have lots of newcomers, and we want to keep them, right? And like when I do my business, I can go shoot a house once.
Yeah.
I can have a headshots, portraits once. Anybody, I can do a job once.
Yep.
I like when I don't care about that job. I care about the second, the third, the fourth. That's
Yes.
when I know I'm doing a good job.
Yep.
Same with these tournaments is you come once, you have a good time or not. Hopefully you keep coming back. So Jake's and my job is really to make it so people have a good time. And so we're striving and making changes to it.
One of
And
the things
just
we might want to point out with the next Catfish Bash is
the time.
the blast off is a little later.
Right. So it's not a early light blast off. It's middle of the day. It's
Yep.
kind of, I think it's a noon blast off,
Yep.
which makes Eric happy. You don't have to get up so early.
Yeah, he likes
Wait,
to sleep
is
in.
that the June one or is that the August one?
No, that's
Both.
the June one. Oh, is it both? Okay.
Yeah, because August is hot August night, so that's a
Right.
late start, and then June's going to be a late start too.
Okay.
You're correct. I am happy about this.
Yeah. I'm still going up Friday, and I'm still going to do my thing.
But now here's something I just thought about. So blast off is until noon. Does that mean we get a pre-fish from early light till?
I don't see why
an hour
not.
before?
I guess I have to refer to Jake, but I'm thinking you can, right?
Yeah.
Because they do a live well check and they do all this
Right.
other stuff. So, and there's a polygraph. So if you guys think you're going to cheat and put some fish out there in a cage or anchored up, whatever, well, take your
Yeah.
chances.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
supposed to be a polygraph. So
Yeah.
if you want to give that money up, give that money up. But,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, I'm giving mine up anyways. I'm not counting on winning. So
I just want to beat you. That's all I care about.
well, you
I don't
might.
care if I don't care if I win, as long as I beat you is all I care about.
Okay. Okay.
I think we should have a side bet.
What kind of side bet?
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Okay. We'll look into that.
Something Stoney might win, which isn't beating you.
We'll have to talk to our teammates.
So basically, the winning is Stoney not winning.
Well, Stoney will end up winning somehow, but
We'll be fishing. To be
Yeah,
determined.
we will figure it out for sure. I like this.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited. And then your picture may be on that wall.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey. Clash of the Titans, you didn't transfer. So
No.
now it's a matter of do I transfer? And I've got my work cut out. I got Kai Powell, which is Ron Ladd, and I don't remember who fishes with him.
Oh, and yeah, I'm going to be out there crossing your lines while you're
He's all
fishing,
making
just so
sure.
you don't go either.
Darren's going to go out there. It's like, hey, No more buddy fishing, right? I guess I got in trouble because I was giving you some help, and
Yep.
I guess that's a no-no. So Darren's going to be on there. Stoney, go here. And like Stoney's disqualified because he's all.
I'm not even going to call you. I'm going to have a loud horn so everybody on the lake can hear.
And everywhere where the fish aren't is where you're telling me to go.
Yep.
It's like, oh,
Yep.
they're over here. It's like, I don't know where they are. So I'm not. I'm going to turn my phone off, and we're just going to figure it out on our own. I'm
Yeah.
hoping. But I'm up against
Throwing bananas on his boat.
throwing bananas and
Yeah.
banana sunscreen, banana
Oh,
jello, anything
Oh, yeah.
bananas. No. But
Yeah.
no, we're on a serious note. We got a tough competitor to go against.
Yeah,
These
we
guys
do.
always do well. I think one tournament they turned in 3 fish over 20 pounds. I think they have the biggest bag that we've ever seen in the bash
Wow.
because each fish was over 20 pounds. It was like 80 pounds. I mean, it was crazy.
You know what I've noticed though? The weights are getting higher.
They are
as
getting higher.
We're going.
And I think a lot of that could be for conservation. You know, we
Right.
do this catch and release thing. We catch big fish, but we would let them go. It's not a kill
Yeah.
tournament.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, as a fisherman, I've seen a lot of posts interesting when you talk about weights and fish.
Mhm.
Is in the striper world. I see guys, you know, posting big old fish as striper, which is cool.
Mhm.
But I saw one guy that had this big old female where he took the eggs out and he was boasting about, well, all these stir, blah, blah, blah. But he killed a female, big old
Yeah.
striper. And he got a lot of shit on Facebook from
Oh,
it.
yeah.
A lot of people, you know,
Oh, yeah.
the keyboard cowboys in there about, you know, why did you do that? But at the end of the day, he pays his license just like everybody else.
Yeah.
He's entitled to keep it. Is it the right thing to do? I don't know. For me personally, I wouldn't keep a fish that was a female that big because I wanted to spawn and make more salmon or more striper.
Yeah.
And the male was that big, yeah, I might keep him. But again, if it's that big, I might let him go because I want to eat the ones that are 22, 24, the smaller fish are great eating. But
You know,
Let's-
but
let's-
I've got to say this. I have in the past taken some big females and eaten them. I cannot tell you any difference between eating a 24-inch striper and a 44-inch striper.
Right.
They taste the same to me.
Right.
I think it's all about what you want to do with that fish. Do you want to release it to let it go spawn, or do you want to go home and feed your family?
Right.
It's up to you.
And you don't
Like you
know what these people are doing when they post it of what their situation is.
Right.
But yet people are real easy to say negative stuff.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you pay your fishing license. It's do what you want. I don't care.
Yeah.
Awesome, you got a big fish.
Yeah.
Awesome, you're gonna eat it. I don't get all
That's-
I don't get my panties in a bunch over any of that
One of the
shit.
biggest things for me is if you're going to take it home and eat it, and you're going to actually utilize it and not just kill it because you want to have a big fish, cool.
Yeah.
You're eating it. You're doing what you're supposed to do with it.
And that's why I spend a lot of money to let fish go.
Yeah. Yeah. Or not even hook them.
Thank you for appreciating why the permitting system is in place in the
Yes.
first place. Like you said, they're permitted to do it, and they can't do a lot of it because that's outside of the permits.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're within the permits,
Hey.
this is why those are in place.
And that's why there's restrictions on sizes and you know, I've heard different things that, you know, they want to regulate striper fishing and, you know, they're going to have a limit on the size on the, like they do the sturgeon, right?
Right.
It has to be a slot in order to keep it. I've
Mhm.
heard rumors that they were going to do that with striper. Not, I mean, it's all rumors. I haven't heard anything
Right.
legitimate.
But then you also get the people that say they want to eradicate the stripers because
that
they're
too.
eating all the salmon.
Well, if they wouldn't release the salmon stuff in the middle of striper season, maybe they wouldn't eat as many.
My argument for that is they brought stripers here, 150 years ago,
I guess.
and they haven't eaten all the salmon yet.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
Do they draw the numbers down some? Sure. When they're letting them go in the middle of striper spawn, sure.
But I think there's a lot more influence. I mean, without making this a political, you know, thing, because it can go real political.
Oh, yes.
Is it Mother Nature? Is it water management? There's so many factors, so many reasons, plus and minus. You know, we keep
Mhm.
building more housing, we keep adding more people to this area, which means
Yep.
more people are going to fish, and you know, we're putting dams in, and we live in a desert. I mean, you're going to have
Yeah.
rain, we're not going to have rain, so it's a very complex
Very complex.
system of
Greed.
water,
Oh.
greed. Right, but greed, right? Is water the new gold? Yes.
It is.
You
It
know.
is in California.
So, and you know, a lot of people are working, a lot of agencies are working to keep the fisheries alive, and whatever your political beliefs are, it's just as long as we can keep fishing and have that
Yep.
in the mix, we're good.
Yep.
Just gotta manage the greed.
Manage the greed.
Yep.
Um,
Just do better.
just do better. But boater safety is huge. You're seeing a lot more in the news. You saw, somebody drowned in the Sac River yesterday or today, and then you had a story you told me about the American River.
Yes.
So tell me about the story.
We were up at Sailor Bar. Me and my wife were trying to check out some places to do some shad fishing. The shad are running. I haven't been able to catch one yet. It'd be nice to get a couple, but we ran into a guy that was drunk as a skunk. Guy could not even, I think he fell out of his boat because he was getting in his boat when we walked by him and talked to him. And by the time we got around to the little point at Sailor Bar there, he was in the water.
Wow.
Couldn't get in his boat. Was having a hell of a time. I went through the water to ask him, try to help him out. He said he was good. He was checking things out.
He's inspecting his boat for mussels.
Inspecting his boat from mussels, from
from underneath.
water line. So yeah, I mean, it just, you want to go out there and have a good time. That's all good. You want to have a drink too, whatever. Just be smart. Don't go out there and when you can barely stand up.
So Anthony and I will take a 6-pack of beer out this.
Yeah.
And come back with 4 beers.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not a Debbie Downer or what do they call them? A Kens now?
A Ken?
Not a Karen, but a Ken. But I don't want to see him kill himself or somebody else.
No, totally.
So.
And again, one is there's no excuse to go out there drunk.
No.
But I think we're just raising more and more a society of idiots.
Yep.
And I blame it on the helmet laws, but we won't go there. It's a whole nother political.
Yeah, they shouldn't make them kids wear helmets when they're young.
No, I think the natural selection will take care of a lot of the problems later in life. Now we're getting censored. Can you believe what they just said?
Yep.
So we got like 10 minutes left in this. I don't know how many people are on. Is there anybody online that have any questions, want to talk? This is kind of the interactive section I'd like to leave some time for questions, answers, comments. We heard a little bit from Warren on what's going on with the Derby. Anybody else on have any words they want to share? Who do we have on anyway?
We have Anthony, Ben, Robert, and Warren.
So Ben, where's Ben? Let's get Ben on. Let's unmute him. I think Ben fished the Derby also. So Ben, we're unmuting you. Come on.
Sorry.
Speak up.
Hello, I'm there.
What up, Ben? How are you?
Hey, man.
Mr. Bar S?
Bar S.
Did you use hot dogs?
That was the worst fishing trip ever, and I stayed on it for 3 days.
Oh God.
So we went from Warren having a good time to Bar S not so. So what happened? Give us the lowdown.
Well, I lost a pole and 2 rod holders. Hey, and then Steve on Sunday, right when I left, I talked to Steve Johnson and said, hey, I lost my pole right here somewhere. 2 guys grabbed my line once, pulled in the line. I'm yelling at him, that's my pole, that's my pole. They caught a fish, and the fish was wrapped up in it. They cut the line right when I'm yelling, so he has one line in his hand, and I go, oh, I hope that's my pole. So I grab that line from him. He hands it to me. I pull it in. It's a 19-pound catfish. I had to fight it in barehanded. I got burns and cuts because I'm thinking, what if this is a 30-pound catfish? I have to get it in. I have to get it in because I could buy me a new fishing pole. But turned out it was just a 19-pound fish that wouldn't even qualify. I had to let it go. And then
how did you lose a rod? How did you lose it?
Well, the night before, when I'm sitting there, it's in the rod holder, and a log came through this canal, a big log, and it pulled it over and snapped the piece where the rod holder goes in, the round piece that you slip the rod holder into. And I didn't realize it had split it. So when I put my rod holder in the next morning, another one in there, when that fish hit it, it just popped it right out. So then I'm looking at it going, what the heck's going on? So I look and I can see the split. So I go, oh, I need a new mount. So I didn't use that mount again with the next rod holder. But later on in the day, I'm talking to Steve. I go to leave. I tell Steve, hey, I'm leaving. if you snag my pole, give me a call. He snags my pole. He's reeling it in. He's after I'd left, and then some guy in an aluminum boat flips over, and so Steve has to drop my pole and go save this guy who was in the water. And I was
That was
oh.
two guys that flipped, right?
No, it looked like it was just one to me. He sent me pictures, and this was Sunday afternoon.
Wow.
I mean, really close to noon when I left. And
How big was that boat?
it? Didn't look very big. It looked like a 12 or 14-foot boat to me.
Wow.
Yeah, see, this goes back to that boater safety.
But I told Steve, I said, dude, your priorities are all screwed up. What the hell? You had my pole, you know? This guy could swim, right?
You would hope, right? You would hope.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm looking for a sponsor now to get a new pole.
Well, you know, I actually know a couple guys. Hook 'em big. Talk to
Hook 'em
Daniel
big.
Fountain.
Got some
I
nice
know,
rods.
I'm gonna have to buy one up there probably before the next tournament we got.
Don't give him. I know you sent me a couple messages, and I know over the while you've been a little discouraged on a few things, and all I could say is hang in there, buddy. They're not all bad. There's a lot of great people involved in these tournaments, and just stick it out. I think you're gonna have a blast.
No, oh no. It was. Don't get me wrong. It was fun. If the wind, my God, I spent the night off that island for a little while there. The first night, and it was like 40-mile-an-hour gusts at night. Oh my God, man, that I was blowing all over. I had a real good anchor though, but oh man, I'd never seen such big waves.
Oh yeah, that Clear Lake can get to be an ocean, and people really got to know, one is the limitation of their boats, and one is limitation of you. Do you know what you're doing?
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, I got that big pontoon boat. It blows it around, but it doesn't flip it over or sink it. So
Yeah.
I had a sleeping bag on the deck, and nothing got wet. But man, you talk
good.
about a ride all night.
Yeah.
And
Rock you to
you're
sleep, huh?
and I'm an old fart now, so I'm like, no, that doesn't sound fun to me. And as you guys were out there battling all that stuff, I was nice and cozy in my bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be 65, so I figured it's an adventure, man. I got to get all I can.
No,
There you
yeah, I
go.
love it, man. I'm glad you're on the scene. And, I hope you stick with it. I wish you luck. And you're in the next bash, right?
Oh yeah. We're all paid up. We're all paid
Yep,
up.
you're all good. A little bit later start, but we're gonna have fun and good luck, man.
Yeah. Well, you can always jump in the Mossy Lake, if it gets too hot that day. It starts at noon.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that yet. We get into this June, July, August, that water can get pretty, and it's not all over the lake. There's gonna be pockets
Right.
where there's a lot of algae and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I would tell people, if you go out there in June, July, August, when that algae bloom starts, is you just got to pay attention of where you are and what you're running, because it can clog your motor up. I know Jake had some issues one year with overheating. He's got the same boat that I have.
Yeah.
And I had a few issues where I had to stop and clear the moss and shit out of my intakes on my motor before I had issues. But yeah,
Well, I know. Yeah, Chris Wheeler, he sucked up a bunch of stuff in that canal with his jet boat. He said he had to go get his boat out of the water and pull all the crap out of his boat. But I don't know. I'll be there in the moss. It don't matter.
Well, that's the difference between a jet and a prop. You got to use jets are great for the river, but maybe not so much for the lake.
Yep. Anyway, no, I ended up catching about, I don't know, 8 or 9 fish. The biggest one was at 19. Everything was in the 15-pound range. And I couldn't hardly get out of that 15-pound range.
And the other thing I've noticed or heard through Facebook, I haven't talked to anybody personally, but there's some new game warden or ranger out there trying to bust people for using salmon.
I don't get the salmon. Yeah, I don't get that. Store-bought, some people say store-bought, some people say they talked to him and he said no salmon at all. I don't know. I'm just going to try to
the things that I've learned and a lot, and I think Ron Ladd actually posted the regulations out there to kind of put it to rest. But my understanding is, as long as it's store-bought, you're fine to use it.
As long as you have your packaging.
And then keep your packaging, keep your receipt. That way you could show it's store-bought, because it has to be processed. So mackerel, salmon, shad, if it's store-bought, you should be okay.
You know, I took tilapia out there this time because I was going to be there
Yep.
3 days. I brought everything. And I actually caught the big fish and the 15-pounders on the tilapia. Just
Hey,
cut them
I
chunks
believe
like
it.
you
There's
see
some
the
pretty
guys
stinky fish.
back Easter fishing with those big chunks. That's what I did. And hey, I
it
don't know.
works.
It
Or
worked.
watermelon
Yeah,
chicken will
I
get
didn't,
you a 27-pounder.
Yeah,
I didn't get nothing on a hot dog this time. I can't believe
No
that,
hot
man.
dogs, huh?
you got to go with the watermelon chicken.
Watermelon chicken for the win.
Yep.
I'll let you guys get back to your stuff, man.
Oh, we're about rounding up. Ben, thanks for the report, buddy.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank
you.
you.
And stick with it. You're going to have a blast. A lot of great people in these tournaments. So,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. All right, boss.
you're, all right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. We are at the end of our session here. We got like 2 or 3 minutes. We're going to wrap this up. I want to give a thank you to Kevin Brock. You guys know I've partnered with Kevin, doing a lot of videos. We're going to be switching gears from striper to I don't know. Actually, I don't even know. We're going to go
Yeah.
striper. I know we're doing salmon in August. I know June salmon season. We're going to do some filming for salmon season. We're talking about some trout. We're talking about some kokanee. So a lot of things going on with Kevin Brock. A lot of
Nice.
filming for me and Old Farts Fishing. So a lot of videos going up on YouTube, and then we're doing our own thing. And then you got your stuff. You got your video you're working on.
Yep. Working on
I'm trying to get him
figure out
into a
these
video
videos,
guy.
and
So you'll be some standard issue fishing team
yep,
videos
they're
coming
gonna be
out.
pretty standard videos.
That's pretty standard videos. Very short because they're
Yeah.
standard issue. They'll be
Yeah,
short
they're gonna
videos.
be short videos.
But hey, I'm glad to see
Easy
you
to
taking that
watch.
step. I try to, some guys like have big trucks and all fancy stuff to compensate.
Yeah,
I just make longer videos.
yeah, yeah. I got a pretty big truck, so
I think my videos are like 10 minutes. I got to get them
Yeah.
down to reality, more like 3 minutes.
yeah, yeah,
So,
for sure.
but anyway,
film them in one session, not 3 weeks.
true. Anyway, thanks for calling in to another episode of A Minute with Stony Stone, where we talk fishing. And Garen, thank you again for
Thank
being our
you.
sidekick
Thank
on
you.
this. And I know I'm going to
Thanks for
probably
joining.
hit Knight's Landing again on Sunday. I got Kansas City Jimmy coming out. We're going to get him back on the water. If you guys don't know him, go watch it on Facebook. But I'm going to
Nice.
get Kansas City Jimmy on some striper.
Yeah.
We got him on some nice catfish last time, so hopefully we can go catch 1 or 2 striper.
I'm gonna look at the weather, and if it's nice enough, I might try to go do some halibut.
There you go. For the halibut? Just for the halibut. There you
Just
go.
for the halibut.
Anyway, till next week, this is Stony Stone, and you've been watching A Minute with Stony Stone and
Darren with Team Sift.
Team Sift. Peace out.
Thank you.